I was thinking, it's pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up that it's so easy to get out of shape, but it's so difficult to get back in it. You know what I mean? Like, people always ask, if you could ask God anything, you're standing there in front of the gates of heaven, right? He's going to let you in. Hey, man, you're good. Okay. Do the body pat down. Make sure you got nothing on you. Come on in. And you're talking to God. You're like, hey, God, it's been so long. It's good to see you again. Do you want to ask me anything? Yeah, actually, I got something for you, bud. Did you mess up on this one? Did you maybe mess up on the idea of you meant to do something, but it came out different than what you meant to do? Because I think what you meant was it's supposed to be easy to stay in shape and hard to get out of it. Because it doesn't even make sense how easy it is to have a tub of ice cream and wake up feeling like shit. Okay. And then now you go on your run and you're sluggish. You're not feeling so good. You feel like the fat kid from the Goonies. It's just rough. I don't know. I had to throw it at you, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. We've all been there. Some of us are still there. Some of us still are out of shape. We can't get out of it. Man, it is a weird phenomenon, but it's good to see you guys. And yeah, I look like shit, okay? I don't need you to tell me what I look like. I know what I look like. It's called getting old, Brad. See, that's another thing. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Mel. I appreciate that. I think we age too quickly. Now, I gotta admit, let me clean myself up for you really quick before I show you what I look like. I think I look pretty good. Okay, look, it's fucking morning. You guys know what I look like in the morning, right? I'm like, fucking, what's happening? Like, God, Brad, you do look like crap, bud. All right, enough of that. I look pretty good for 36. I gotta say, I don't look terrible. I mean, I got a wrinkle right here. That's due to the Democrats. I don't have kids. That's due to the Democrats. All righty. Well, speaking of Democrats, I got a story for you guys, and it's a story that might take down Gavin Newsom, and a story that I totally believe because I've seen similar behavior from New Scum. And it's coming from a person that you would not expect to possibly take down Gavin Newsom. You might have not heard this before, but it's happening. Spencer Pratt demands Gavin Newsom explain why he took millions in Palisades fire aid grant from victims in scathing video. Oh yeah. You're like, yeah, that guy looks kind of familiar. I've seen him somewhere. He was on the show The Hills out here in Laguna Beach. Now, funny enough, I took a job interview for Laguna Hills High School, where the Hills, Laguna, that whole show, Laguna Hills, that show was like being filmed at. There's a lot of bougie people there. Oh, and they pay well. Let me tell you, they pay well. Let me tell you, I didn't get it. Now, the Hill star Spencer Pratt, who you see on the left-hand side of your screen here, unleashed a scathing demand for California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has been accused of taking a chunk of fire aid funds for himself after an estimated $100 million was donated following the Palisades wildfires in January. This is going to get a little bit crazy, you guys, just to let you know. Because a lot of you haven't heard this, but you've heard of the Palisades fire. You remember when LA was burning down and people were flying into LAX just going, holy shit, am I landing in this? The second round of $50 million funding, guess who took a fire aid grant? Let me tell you, Gavin Newsom and his Cal Volunteers office took a fire aid grant. Pratt fired off in an Instagram video. So that's cool. We'd like to know how much you took and exactly what you did with the money. And I mean, dollar for dollar, what you did with it. Thank you. That would be nice. I would love that from every single government official, whether they're Democrat or Republican. I would love to know dollar for dollar where my stuff's going. I would love this for the Pentagon. Y'all remember how the Pentagon has... I actually don't remember the last time the Pentagon passed an audit. They have failed 6, 7 consecutive audits. I would love to know where dollar for dollar is going, because I've heard a lot of black budget projects going on. Sue Pascoe unveils misuse of fire aid funds. Well, here we go. After the 3-week wildfires ceased, the state of California held 2 concerts to raise money for victims. Y'all remember this, where the celebrities came out and they started singing for everybody, right? Getting on their banjos. According to the official website for fire aid, contributors raised an estimated $100 million that has been designated for direct relief. I'm going to mention this again, direct relief, and will not be used for administrative purposes, right? Whenever we donate money, that's why people have such a problem with like these huge organizations, because it doesn't actually go to the people that it's supposed to go to. It just goes to these administrative people that are making millions of dollars or 6 figures, which is why I've mentioned if you can get into one of these organizations, you're going to make a boatload of money. I mean, you're going to really question your sanity of why you chose to go into whatever career you went into when these people don't do anything whatsoever, and they're making $150,000, $200,000 for like a low tier job that you can, give to anybody. I mean, hell, you can train a chimpanzee to do the job. Well, despite these claims, new revelations of misused donations have surfaced after Sue Pascoe, finally. No, give me a second. This is called nostalgia. Yeah, this is what you're seeing happen to a grown man right now is called nostalgia. Remember when there used to be investigative journalists all the time? They go out with their pen and paper, start asking questions. That's pretty much it. I mean, you could tell she's been through some, she's been through some stuff. That's the best I could do. I don't know what this is on. Oh, come on. See, I screwed it up for us. That's what I get. There we go. All right. Well, Sue's been through some stuff, and she's an investigative journalist for Circling the News. Never heard of it. Was tipped. How is it we get the best investigations from like the things we've never even heard of? Like, where's the New York Post, the New York Times, the Washington Post? Like all these people that have the biggest newspapers and biggest news outlets don't ever do any investigative journalism. Was tipped off about victims who never received fire aid money for their desolation. Jesus, sorry, it's morning. Fire aid money confirmed to be distributed to nonprofits. So wait, they're supposed to take this $100 million, and it's supposed to go to direct relief and not for administrative purposes. But then they give it to the nonprofits. It gets worse. Oh yeah, there's some red flags here. During Pascoe's testimony on Fox 11, she told Marla Tellez the fire aid money is not helping the people. So let me see if I can actually find. Let me see if I can actually find this interview here for us in real time, rather than me talking. Let's see if we can find it, because I know it exists. It's actually where I first came up on it, other than Chris Pratt. So give me un momento here, folks. It's remember, it's a Friday show. It's more loosey-goosey. It's us kind of chilling a little bit here. I think this is it. Let me see. Yeah, here we go.
Well, just one of the big names who took the stage for Fire Aid, that star-studded concert that raised $100 million for wildfire victims. But where did all that money go? Investigative journalist Sue Pascoe has been digging for answers, and what she's discovered might just surprise you. And Sue Pascoe, she joins me now live on set. You are the editor of Circling the News. Yes, we can clearly see that. Thanks for the work that you're doing. So this is personal and professional for you because you lost your home in the Palisades fire, but that's not necessarily how this story landed in your lap. How did this all come to be?
A reader sent me a little note and said,
this whole thing.
I've never seen any fire aid money. How do I apply for fire aid money? And I thought, well, I've never thought about that. There's 12,000 people, basically 12,000 homes gone. Those people probably want to know where the money is. This will be an easy task to find out. So I contacted the Annenberg. They never responded.
And the Annenberg is
Foundation, because they are overseeing the wildfire funds, yes. So I emailed them several times. They never responded. I called them several times. They never responded. And finally, it was like almost 2 weeks later, a woman got back to me and she said, "Oh, I'm sorry for the delay. The person you need to speak to is Chris Wallace. He's a media spokesperson for wildfire funds." So I contacted Chris and I said, victims want to know when they can get their money. Seems like a very simple question. He said,
you would think it's a simple question, huh? Hey, when are we going to get our money? My house was burnt down like almost a year ago. I would really love to know when you're going to help us out.
Basically, they don't. All this money are going to nonprofits, and then nonprofits will take care of making sure the money's distributed. So I looked at initially they gave $50 million to about 120 nonprofits. And I looked at these nonprofits, and one of them said, "We help mobile home parks." And there were 2 mobile home parks in the Palisades, all low income. And so I contacted the people there. They had never received any money. They had never heard of that. When you go through, I would urge everyone to just go to the nonprofits that are listed if you want a good laugh. I mean, one of the nonprofits cleans preschool bathrooms. Well, after the fire, who knows? Maybe there is a preschool bathroom that needs cleaning.
Yeah. In other words, a lot of these nonprofits are ancillary, if you will.
That's a nice way of saying it.
And you urge people, our viewers, they can go on the Fire Aid website. And yes, in terms of if you're Fire Aid, you can say, we have listed all the nonprofits. So they've given out $75 million so far. And you can see for yourself each nonprofit that has received money. The vetting process, though, that's an interesting angle to this story as well.
The thing is, Johnny, nonprofits do get audited. I used to audit nonprofits when I was a public accountant. That's how I know that these people make freaking a lot of money. And that's why in that article I was highlighting, it's not supposed to go to administrative services. And I think they should be audited.
Because there's still another round of funding that will be given out. If you're a nonprofit, you would just have to fill out a simple, very simple questionnaire. 6 questions. So
just wait.
What do you make of the vetting process?
I think they're not helping the victims at all. Let's just say, and the other thing you should know, if you go on there, they don't say how much each individual nonprofit gets.
Of course not.
So there are 2 nonprofits that are for the homeless people in the Palisades, Los Angeles in general, that they're getting money from LASA. So why are these nonprofits also getting money from Fire Aid? I don't know. They're homeless nonprofits. Of course, we're all homeless now, but.
And to be clear, we have reached out to actually the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, to see if this is on his radar, because this is a whole lot of money and you are well connected in your community and you don't know anybody who has received Fire Aid money.
That's correct.
So what is your advice if you're a victim, and there are several who are probably watching tonight who lost their home like yourself, where do you go from here?
Hopefully with people like you who are bringing it to the attention of America, really, because we have all these people I know in the Midwest where I'm from who said, we want to give money, where do we give it? How can we help the people? This Fire Aid money is not helping the people. It's helping nonprofits, many of them who have executives that are getting a 6-figure salary. The money is not going to the victims that you wanted the money to go to.
Yeah, you make a great point, because there's a lot.
It ain't good. Oh, no, it ain't good at all. And Spencer Pratt, I keep doing that. I keep calling him Chris Pratt. Spencer Pratt keeps freaking taking the poker and going after the bear on TikTok regarding all of this. And I think very well Spencer Pratt could be the one to take down Gavin Newsom regarding the money and the Palisade fires. And I think Adam Carolla should have Spencer Pratt on his podcast, because this is big. This is like really, really big. So if you guys aren't up to date on that, make sure you do check it out, because it's pretty bonkers with what's going on here. And where's the money, Gavin? And where did it go? My speculation has always been that Gavin Newsom is in cahoots with these elites like homeless. And that is where all our taxpayer dollars are going, not to helping the homeless and getting them off the streets, but it's going to his elite buddies. And that has always been my thoughts on it. Well, let's go to the chat here really quick and see what people are doing. Never going to trust these fundraising situations again. Just make sure you have great insurance. Well, that's the problem too, right? Is people are struggling getting insurance in the state of California because insurance companies are saying, look, it's either going to cost you an arm and a leg, or we're not even going to offer you insurance at all. So I legitimately, you know, we are always looking to buy a home. We're trying to see like what prices are like, and which obviously you can't buy a home here in the state of California because you're going to be paying $900,000 to the moon. Who knows? For like a Cracker Box house is going to cost you like $900,000. And if you want to get a big, nice house or like a decent home and not pay through the roof, well, what you're going to find out is you're going to have to be in a really heavy fire zone, meaning 10 out of 10 fire zone, 10 out of 10 flood zone to get a decent looking property. Well, you can't get insurance up there. One, because it's a flood zone, and also it's a high risk fire zone. And so they're not even going to offer it to you. So you can't even get insurance out here anymore. It's crazy, man. It really is. It's baffling. And then you go out there, there's brush everywhere, man. It's dry as a freaking bone. Yeah. I mean, you don't even want to breathe on the stuff because you're afraid that your breath's going to ignite the thing. But don't worry, Gavin Newsom's doing his job. He's running a podcast, you guys. He's doing great work out here. No, it's perfectly ran. Very, very frustrating stuff living in the state of California. And I know you're going, Brad, move out. Brad, get out of there. I know what you're saying. I don't even need to look at it. I know. Remember, I was also in Orange County, so it's nice over here. It's really, if you've never been to Orange County, California, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always the bad areas, but man, it's nice down here. I like it. His war chest for his presidential ambitions. Susan Summers' house burned down in Malibu years ago. She moved to Palm Springs because of the red tape to rebuild. Yeah. Oh, I mean, and that's another thing out here. It's just the amount of regulations, red tape, trying to get. Remember how you weren't supposed to have a problem getting your permits, and people have been just getting delayed for their permits. So Karen Bass lied to everybody, but nobody wants to bring it up. Democrats love being lied to is really the thing. I'm a full believer of that. They love just being slapped across the face by Democrats left and right. Well, let's get into some news that's happening this morning. You have President of the United States learned a lot from being able to see the Fed renovation with his new eyes. The renovation, the combination of all the headquarter buildings is $3 billion, and the overrun just for 2 of the buildings is $1 billion. I mean, you're not even close. You're over by $1 billion?
Very good visit. We learned a lot. The president learned a lot from being able to see it with his own eyes. He's a master builder. He has had great interest in this project. We learned a lot from watching him as a builder, figuring out the types of things that he would never have done in designing this as a renovation. And fundamentally, the reasons for why this is costing so much. They had good conversations throughout, and you know, we're not surprised that they don't necessarily agree with every of the viewpoints that we have, but these are the numbers that have come from the Fed, and they are entirely correct. This renovation, the combination of all of the headquarter buildings, is a $3 billion, and the overrun just for those 2 buildings, we want to talk about just those 2 in the Chairman Powell, the overrun just for those 2 buildings is $1 billion, and there's some unbelievable reasons for why that is so.
Such as?
Such as, you know, number one, they are putting a tunnel in between the buildings. Number 2, they're essentially excavating an entire basement approach in an area of the D.C. the National Mall that we know has problems with water. So you have to go very deep. You have to be able to figure out how you're going to prevent future leakage down the road. And they have a enormous parking lot that they are building into the ground. that is something that most agencies don't have. For $30 million compared to the $250 million for the parking itself, you could be able to provide parking benefits for the entirety of the Fed. There's largesse everywhere you look. And there are some fundamental reasons for why this thing has become so big. This is not just restoring a building that needed to be restored for its historical purposes, nor is it the only renovation this building has received. That is inaccurate. This building had renovations at the turn of the century, 1999 or so. And so there's been a lot of work done to this building. This is about doing enormous renovations of an entire headquarter building and largely escaping the notice of the public and Congress.
Well, we're going to keep it together today. We're going to keep it together on this Friday. I'm too damn tired to lose my crap. I'm way too damn tired. Now, there was that clip that was surfacing yesterday. If you were able to join us yesterday for Dark MAGA, because you got to go over there after the podcast. You got to look at yesterday's Dark MAGA podcast. When I say that we were all hysterically laughing yesterday for a majority of what happened yesterday, the entire podcast, I'm not kidding. We had a good time yesterday, did we not? Last night was a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of fun. Well, there was that clip of Trump and Jerome Powell where Trump calls him out and they're having kind of this back and forth, and it's freaking hilarious. It really is. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to show you here. We'll do this one. It's a little grainy, but that's okay.
Just taking a look at what's happening. It's a tough construction job. They're building basements where
watch his face.
They didn't exist or expanding them, and a lot of very expensive work. There's no question about it. And Tim has been with me for a long time, and you're in charge of the committee.
Indeed. One of the reasons I wanted to see it was the overruns of the expenses, wanted to figure out why.
Yeah. So we're taking a look, and it looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1,
3.2.
This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no,
the
but
Martin building.
it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
But it's not new.
So we're going to take a look. We're going to see what's happening, and it's got a long way. Do you expect any more additional cost overruns?
Don't expect them.
We already got all your money. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're over $1 billion. Don't expect. I think we cleaned you out. Yep. Don't expect much. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we'll settle at $1 billion. That sounds great.
We're ready for them, but we have a little bit of a reserve that we may use, but no, we don't. Expect to be finished in 2027.
Oh, great.
We're well along, as you can see.
Yeah, see a lot of wood. A lot of wood, a lot of nothing, a lot of probably my money being wasted.
Nice to take these off every once in a while when we're not under too much danger. So, any questions?
Mr. President, does the issue give you any?
As a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
How do you go over budget $1 billion? And then you have the balls. You have the balls to split hairs going, oh, you included another building in this assessment. Yeah, I as a taxpayer would kind of like to know the total cost of the entire renovation of the entire project. Yes, I would, pal. That'd be really nice to know that you're over $1 billion. Oh, well, you included another building in this assessment. Well, yeah, it's part of the entire project. Why would I lie to the American people and not include one of the buildings that was a part of the renovation, whether you finished it 5 years ago or not? I'd really like to know what's being spent here. God, crazy, just crazy. Now, the other thing that's crazy, We showed this yesterday on Dark MAGA, but I kind of failed you guys a little bit, just a little bit. Now, I got to show you this. Hold on a second. Let me find the original post here. Oh, because they took it down. I need to find the original. And because I want the original that I want to show you is it doesn't show what I'm going to show you. Now, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Because I showed you a graph yesterday. And it's the greatest self-own you will ever see in politics. So this is what Democrats posted yesterday. No, I'm not kidding. This is going to be real. You're about to laugh your you-know-what off. Democrats posted this. Its U.S. grocery prices reached record highs. I can't make it any bigger. Sorry. That's what she said. U.S. grocery prices reached record highs in 2025. And for those on audio, there's a time series graph here. And it has different colors of lines that are plateaued. And then around October of 2021, they exponentially go up. You have an exponential function right here. Okay. And I mean, they go up quick, vertical, and then they plateau after. And then they continue to go up, but it kind of plateaus a little bit, but they definitely go up still. And it's talking about cheese, alcohol, grocery, dairy, produce, meat, all that stuff. The Democrats posted this. Now, this is the greatest self-own you will see in quite some time because they're blaming Trump for this. Right? That's why they're posting it. Prices are hit record highs in 2025 by the Democrats saying, oh, look, well, Trump's in office. Grocery prices have never been higher. Well, here's the thing. Who was president? You had to take a guess on when these prices skyrocketed. They deleted this, by the way. This is not even up there anymore. They removed it because they realized they punched themselves in the face like Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, where he's in the bathroom and he's kicking his own ass, right? The guy walks in, he's like, what are you doing? I'm kicking my ass. This is all Biden's doing. Everything in red here is all Joe Biden's doing. Look at that. Bunch of idiots. Oh, I love it.
Saying that all of these prices have gone up in 2025. That's what the headline read. But when you read the graph, the highest points were during Joe Biden's administration. And so this is the White House's response. You can see they highlighted it in red. When it was the highest, it was under Joe Biden.
Hilarious.
So they deleted it off. So obviously,
the Democrats deleted it.
Yeah, obviously an own goal by the Democratic Party. So, like, for example, they say a lot of dairy prices are down, right? Eggs are down 53%, something ridiculously low. But meat is high. Yeah. So the president's got to focus on that. And guess what the president did yesterday? Mm-hmm. He got Australia to buy our beef for the first time. Yeah. So he's constantly moving stuff.
They were saying that.
So, you know, just the goalpost, they're just trying to find anything, right? It keeps moving. And you're going to see this whining and complaining just like they did when his first term. We're going to see it for another 3.5 years, right? Oh, it was egg prices. He brings that down. Then it's dairy. He brings that down. Then it's meat. He brings that down. I mean, it's going to be thing after thing after thing. And it's kind of a remarkable thing to watch is like the guy's like, okay, you want meat? You want meat to be cheap? Have my meat. No, I'm just kidding. That's something Trump was probably used to say a long time ago. You want meat? Right, he's grabbing his crotch here. I'll give you some meat. Right, very New Yorker. You know, you can totally imagine a New Yorker doing that, right? But he brings the meat prices down, and it's honestly, I think Trump was right to be a little frustrated with the Epstein stuff because he's like, look, man, we're the hottest country in the world. Look what's happening around you. Your stock prices are at record highs. You're paying for cheap groceries, even though, yeah, they're high, but that's not because of him. That's because of Biden, but he's bringing them down to the best of his ability. Your 401ks are booming. You got artificial intelligence that's about to pop off. You got women, you got men out of women's sports. I got you guys a better tax cut in terms of what I'm offering you than I even did in my first term. We got the border secure. We're deporting all these criminals. We're making the streets safer. I mean, guys, in 6 months, he's right. I would be freaking pissed too if that's the news headline is Jeffrey Epstein, a guy that's a scumbag, is taking all the spotlight from the work that Donald Trump is doing. I hate to tell you, but he has a right to be pissed. Whether he said he was going to release all that stuff or not, I would be pissed too if I was busting my ass at the level that guy is, where he's working night and day, quite literally, to make this country great again. And that's the breaking news all the time is Epstein documents, not the border secure, getting rid of these crazy people, finding out that Joe Biden is corrupt and exposing Barack Obama administration for lying with the Russia hoax, making sure you got cheap grocery prices, creating peace everywhere on earth practically by trying to resolve all these peace negotiations, getting trade deals in, bringing in surpluses that we haven't seen in multiple decades. I mean, the list goes on and on and on what this guy is doing, man. And I'm repeating myself. I don't blame him one bit for being pissed about, really, you guys want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein? Really, everything that I'm doing right now, and you want to talk about this sleazebag? I hate to say it. I see his point. I see the other side too, of like, well, you promised this to us, man. We want to get rid of the swamp here. I get it. Look, I see both sides. I definitely see his side because he's busting as you know what, man. I've never seen somebody work like this before in terms of government, ever. And I'm not trying to just gloss the guy. I'm serious. I just never seen it. Let me know. Oh, maybe Reagan. No, not even close to Reagan. Not even close. I don't think anybody's compared to Trump right now.
It is one big, beautiful bill, Maria, and President Trump, through his executive orders, was implementing the kinds of innovation we needed on permitting reform. I mean, we've gotten 8 projects done in the last couple months that normally would took years. We're getting them done in weeks. So the things that are happening when we speed up permitting, it's estimated there's between $1 trillion and $1.5 trillion of capital projects that were stuck in America wanting to get through but waiting for permits. When we accelerate that permit, we're accelerating more capital coming into the market. Yep. Again, this is why I'm so bullish on the American economy, is that we're actually letting innovation finally take hold again as opposed to regulation. President Trump understands that innovation is the source of American greatness, and regulation is what kills us. And when you were talking about, these incredible, ridiculous subsidies for intermittent, unreliable, and expensive sources, wind and solar, the other part about that, Maria, and you've been so good on this for so long, but most of those components, like for solar, all coming from China. I mean, information coming out a few weeks ago that some of these Chinese solar panels had kill switches inside of them. So this is just like the Huawei thing a few years ago. It's like we have to have secure supply chains. But for right now, President Trump understands we need reliable, affordable American energy, baseload energy. And that's why, clean, beautiful American coal, metallurgical coal, which we need to get back in the steel industry, our oil and gas resources. He's unleashing everything, and he's pro renewable because he's pro nuclear, he's pro geothermal, he's pro hydro. President Trump is for all these things, but it's American energy and it's reliable baseload energy. That's the frame. It's not renewable versus unrenewable. It's affordable, reliable American baseload versus intermittent, expensive.
I mean, he nailed it. I never understood this with like Democrats of like why they're so against removing regulation so business and innovation can flourish. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any regulation. That is not what I'm saying. But there's a lot of red tape that I think everybody can agree like, yeah, we don't really need this. There's a point to it, but the point isn't justified for the means that you're going to get. Meaning the return that you're going to get on it, you're just basically you're strangling somebody without reason to strangle them. I don't know if that makes any sense, and I wish I had an example off the top of my head, but I don't. I mean, I guess I do. There was a company that I used to audit, and they used to manufacture these lids that go on top. I've shared the story before. They used to manufacture these lids that went on top of these burners. And it was supposed to help purify the exhaust that was coming out. I mean, these things are massive. They're not like small. They don't just go on your head, right? These things they're huge. And usually when you audit a company, they'll always kind of take you around, right? They always like to woo you and build a relationship with you, especially if you're a new, like an accountant on it, even though you're with the same firm or whatever, you're just kind of the one taking it over. And so they'll walk you around the place. And I always would ask like, hey, like, was this something that you're planning on doing? Like, why are you doing this? Because I want to gain more information about the company that, I'm going to be looking into their information. And the guy said, he goes, this is killing me right now. This is a big company, mind you. And I'm like a 23, 24-year-old kid walking around with a guy that's in his 50s. That's, huge exec. Guys walk around in a suit, right? You're walking around in a suit too. Like, feel good because you feel powerful. And he's like, this is strangling us because what the government's doing is they're putting in these mandates for us for this, clean energy stuff, this climate change stuff. That's what it used to be called. Global warming is what we called it. And he's like, I can't afford doing this stuff. It's strangling me out of business. He's like, you're going to see it when you do the audit. I'm struggling to afford trying to innovate these lids to go on top of our exhaust because the government's mandating me. And I have to do it within a certain time period. He's like, dude, this is crazy. And I said, I totally get that. And I said, is this something that you would have maybe even done over time? He said, absolutely. He said, I would have done this even if the government didn't tell me to do it because it's just good for business. He goes, a lot of people that I work with want clean energy. The thing is that you can't force people to do something in a time span that's not reasonable and doesn't meet actual expectations. I'll give you another example. Having companies go fully electric by a certain time period. I think it was like 2035 or something like that in like the state of California. And the owners were coming out saying, well, this is not possible. Like, it's actually not feasible to do this. And they were bringing out these guys that own mines in other countries. And even the miners, the one that owns like the mining firms, these companies said it's actually impossible to mine the cobalt, the nickel, all these metals out of the earth. So how are you going to have this expectation of going fully electric on vehicles when one, your power grid isn't available, you can't even do it. And two, you actually can't build the vehicles because there isn't enough material to be produced at the levels you want it to be because we don't have the labor for it nor the capacity to produce it. So there's a couple examples. Now, is that regulation? Yeah, it is regulation. They love strangling us out, man. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it drives me up a wall. It really, really does. If you're having a good time, man, we're flying by. Has it been 45 minutes already? Wow. That's crazy. I thought it's only been like 20. That's nuts. So a big thing here, and there's going to be pushback on this. I like it. Okay. I have a love-hate relationship with this. Now, here's my internal struggle that I have politically. You guys might be a little bit different, but I want to see if anybody's on the same page as me on this one. I truthfully don't like executive orders that presidents utilize. Let me tell you why. I was fine with it many. Thanks for hitting the like or the heart button over there in the chat. I saw somebody spamming the 100 or the confetti thing. Thank you. I appreciate you guys doing stuff like that. That's always fun. Executive orders didn't used to be used to the capacity that it's being used at right now. It almost seems like every presidency, it keeps just being used more and more. And Trump has signed a ton of executive orders. And I don't like that because it's an overreach of the executive branch. Now, let me tell you what I think Trump is trying to do here. I don't have proof of this. This is just my own thinking. I think he's doing all these executive orders that keep being stopped by the courts and then going up to the Supreme Court or, trying to get it resolved. I think he's trying, and I've said this before, I think he's trying to figure out how much power the executive branch actually holds, which, by the way, constitutionally is not that much. It really isn't. Presidents do not have any business signing this many executive orders, just a heads up. Like if I was to pinpoint something that I disagree with Trump on, executive orders. Now, here's where it tugs at my heartstring is because government's not doing anything for the American people. They're doing everything for other countries or illegals and stuff like that. So my personality's like, well, then screw government and just get it done, Trump. That's what I like, but it's not how things are supposed to work. Okay, so that leads me into this. Trump signs order to relocate homeless to treatment facilities, institutions, basically. So President Donald Trump has signed an executive order intended to facilitate the removal of homeless individuals from the streets of American cities. The order directs cities and states to relocate these individuals into treatment or rehabilitation centers using federal funds to support this initiative. This move aims to enhance public order and address homelessness, although critics argue it might overlook underlying socioeconomic issues. So let's kind of get into this a little bit. Trump's new executive order will essentially override the laws that closed the mental asylums in the 1960s, allowing states to once again involuntarily reinstitutionalize people deemed a danger to themselves or others. There is truth to this, and this is also kind of a fine line for me as well. And the fine line definitely dips over into your rights. What do I mean by this? Is you get really into some dicey territory where people are deemed a danger to themselves or others. Because if you are deemed a danger to yourself or others, usually you're not able to access that Second Amendment right, even though maybe you're not an actual danger to yourself or others, or you're not mentally stable. For example, you could have a crazy psycho girlfriend report you to the authorities and totally make a bogus claim about you. And now maybe you are either institutionalized yourself, or they're going to remove your access to your firearms because of what a crazy girlfriend said or ex-girlfriend because you guys got in an argument or something. And if you don't think that's in the realm of possibility, that's the example a lot of people utilize in debates, by the way, and they would be correct. When you have people, especially the government, that are the ones that tell you that you're deemed a danger to themselves or to others, that's a problem. And if you don't think it's a problem, I'll give you another example. Joe Biden called all of you extremists a threat to democracy, a terror risk in your own country. If you are deemed a terror risk and you are a threat to the country, gee, doesn't that sound like you are deemed a danger to others and should be institutionalized? Isn't that a problem when the government is the one that's going to dictate that? It's a little scary. I don't know about you, but especially me that does a podcast. Gee, there's a bald guy with a freaking hat on crooked that comes on every morning and starts saying a bunch of nonsense. I don't know. This guy seems a little off. Yeah, he seems a little unhealthy. I think he needs to be institutionalized. I think he needs to be taken away from his family. I think he's deemed a danger. Oh, the guy's in education? Oh, does he talk like this in the classroom? Is this how he acts in front of people's kids? Gee, I think he should be institutionalized. Which, by the way, you guys know I don't act like this in front of this. There's a time and place, right? This is all entertainment. Okay. I can't say that enough because people are probably like, that's a great question. Do you act like this? Come on. There's a time and place. Everybody knows this is for entertainment. I've already told you my true personalities. I'm quiet. I'm a mute. I know how to act professional. Okay. I know somebody like, no way in hell. Yes. All right. So it says here, seek in appropriate cases the reversal of federal or state judicial precedents and the termination of consent decrees that impede the United States policy of encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness, there you go, who pose risks to themselves or the public or a living on the streets and cannot care for themselves in appropriate facilities for appropriate periods of time. Now, what I expect to happen, I don't know for sure, but usually we end up being right here. Usually we're ahead of the news cycle. I think the Democrats are going to come out and says this goes against people's civil rights. This is a civil rights thing. And how am I going to connect that? Is because right here it says encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness who pose risks to themselves. Trans people. I think that's going to be where this is going to go. Trans people, it is a mental illness. It is. Absolutely. Do they pose a risk to themselves? Absolutely. And potentially to others, because we've seen how they act in public. They pop off. Now, I'm not saying I want trans people locked up. I'm giving you an example of where I think this is going to go. And I think there's going to be some interesting things that happen here. Now, I'm curious on what you guys think. Anyone that teaches AP statistics is smart. Thanks, Hans. Yeah, you guys actually remember that I teach AP statistics? Wow, it's pretty crazy. But yes, I do teach AP. I pretend to teach AP statistics. But yes, I do teach AP statistics. That's right. I am not smart though. Let me tell you, I'm an idiot. I will always. Please understand. Somebody said this one time. I think it was Shayla. Shayla, I don't know. Shayla, do you still watch the show? Shayla, you in the chat? Give us a shout out, Shayla. We love Shayla here. Said one time that I come off as seemingly to be smart. I am not. Please understand that. There's a reason why I don't do debates. I would like to have conversations with people. I don't know enough about stuff, you guys, to even be doing debates. I'm an idiot. There's people way smarter than me on stuff. There's things that people say that I'm like, okay, like, can you flesh that out for me? I'm not really following that. My bullshit meter's pretty good. That's what I will say from accounting. Like, I have a really good, like, if it smells like shit, it usually is shit. That's a phrase I learned from my dad. A lot of people in accounting use that phrase all the time. If it smells like shit, it usually is shit. Now, the thing is, with Joe Biden in office, there's a lot of duty smelling. Let me tell you, a lot of duty smelling. All right, so I want to see what people are saying here. Let's go to Eric Doherty. And I want to see what the people actually have to say here. So actually getting people the treatment they need and not just throwing cash at them is huge. Yeah, there's some truth to that, but it's man. Here's the tough thing for me as well. I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys, but I'm kind of just, just riffing. It's a Friday episode. My other problem with this is being paid with federal funds, right? So this is all of our money. There's a lot of homeless people in red areas too. It's not just a Democrat problem, but this is you're paying for a problem that was basically exacerbated by the Democrats, especially in LA. Remember, we have a quarter of the homeless population in one county, meaning the majority of the homeless. Let's just say the majority. A good portion of the homeless is in the state of California, meaning it's more of your federal dollars coming to us because of our inability to actually govern correctly. And I feel bad because that sucks. I mean, you guys shouldn't have to pay for somebody else's flaws. You should have to pay for somebody else's lack of governance. That's not right for you guys, to be fair. It's not. I'll say it right now, I don't want your federal money at all. Zero. You should not be helping us in any way. We're the biggest tax state. We got plenty of money. You need to let it crumble. Now, is that hurting me? Absolutely. But you just need to let us do our thing and let us crumble. And I say that about New York. No money going to, just stop it. Stop sending federal money everywhere all the time. Let states figure themselves out. That's how things are supposed to be ran. If you can't run your own state, stop asking for money. Doge says, here, let's see what this says. This is Doge AI. Redirecting federal funds to address homelessness through mandatory rehab and treatment is a necessary step, there is some truth to that. But real accountability means auditing when every dollar goes, correct? Because you've seen how Gavin Newsom and these psycho Democrats treat your money. The executive orders focus on clearing encampments and enforcing public order aligns with prioritizing citizen safety, yes. Yet the deeper issue remains bureaucratic bloat, siphoning resources from local or actual solutions. For decades, agencies like HUD funneled cash into ineffective programs, while veterans and mentally ill Americans basically just sat there on the streets suffering. There was a clip a while ago. Homeless outside school. I don't know if this is still up. This is an old clip from like years ago where the homeless outside New York, the kids had to step over homeless people to get to their school. And there was what was happening was there's these guys that are doing the little hokey pokey under their blanket outside these schools. It's sad, man. So these kids are having to walk through dangerous areas to get to school. And I want to see if we could find it here. Here we go. Check this out. Now this is ABC 7. So this would be Los Angeles, I believe.
The students and anyone heading down Wilshire can't miss the encampment.
Look at this.
And as soon as the school day ends at Esperanza Elementary, some kids get a very up-close view.
They're smoking, doing drugs and stuff like that. Yeah, it smells like pee.
We walked with Jasmine Aguilar as she ensures her 9-year-old little sister is safe.
You've seen human waste?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, you can actually kind of smell some of it right now.
Yeah. Sometimes they have dogs, and then you have dogs, chasing little kids.
Citlali Alvarado has 2 kids enrolled at Esperanza.
What all have you seen from that encampment?
Well, there's been shootings here, stabbing. The place where they're at right now, it has caught on fire many times.
And just to give you a sense of how close this encampment is to that campus, right over the encampment is this sign that says, "Safe School Zone. Any person who commits a crime within this area is subject to increased penalties." Most elementary students we saw walking past the tents have an adult escort. Often the parents put themselves between the tents and their child and make sure their kid dodges any hazards like these exposed wires.
Why is there exposed wires? Well, because the homeless take the power from the light poles, you guys, so they can power whatever they're doing. Sometimes that's hot stoves, sometimes it's TVs, sometimes it's game consoles. I mean, I've seen it all.
An hour later, when Lathy Middle School lets out, many kids pass without a parent, navigating this encampment and sometimes others.
I've witnessed John Lathy Middle School students have to step over someone passed out from fentanyl on the sidewalk.
In 2022, City Council passed Municipal Code 4118, which states no person shall sit, lie, sleep, or store personal property within 500 feet of a school. So why is this encampment, which is inside Council District 1, still here? The office of Councilmember Eunices Hernandez tells us our office is aware of and actively working to address the encampment near Esperanza Elementary. We pushed the mayor's office for answers too. Mayor Bass's office telling us we have previously addressed this encampment and we will again address this encampment. And LAUSD says we are aware of this issue and are in communication with our local partners regarding solutions.
You know what it takes, sadly? You know what it's going to take for them to clean this up? I don't want this to happen. It's going to take a kid actually being harmed. Whatever that looks like, that's what it's going to take. And by the way, that lawsuit's going to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And you know what's even more messed up? Guess who pays for that? Not Karen Bass, not Governor Gavin Newsom, which I think they should, by the way. I think we should take money out of their wallets. We pay for it in the state. Yeah, the taxpayers. So I pay for these idiots, not doing their damn job. And by the way, it's insane that these kids are having to pass over people doing fentanyl. You guys know that fentanyl, it don't take a lot. And all it takes, right, is some kid, and we all know kids' brains don't function correctly. And I'm not beating them up. It's not their fault. It's not fully developed yet. Kids will act out in ways that they don't understand even themselves why they do it. You see something on the ground, maybe a baseball card, and the baseball card is laced with fentanyl on top of it because the drug dealer was maybe doing something with the baseball card. The kid picks it up and goes close and he looks at it and inhales just a little bit. You just killed the kid. Just deleted the kid. That's all it takes. It doesn't take anything crazy. Kid just saw something on the ground. I remember walking the Las Vegas Strip. Remember late at night when you had all those Mexicans passing out those little those show cards for the ladies with the boobies, and you get to see some little tatas. And I didn't know what it was at first. It was a little kid walking down the strip with my family and stuff, and we were on vacation. And there was these guys passing out cards, and I'm like, cool, I love collecting cards. This is fun. And I grabbed one, I looked at it, it's basically corn. It's just a lady with her boobies out. And I was like, whoa, I was a really young kid. It was awesome. And so then I started picking them up off the streets. You know what I mean? Started collecting all these cards because they're just all over the streets. People are just taking them and throwing them on the ground. You know what I mean? And my dad's just like, what are you doing? Stop picking shit up. Leave those things alone. You know, well, one, I knew what I was doing. I was trying to look at the boobies, but that's a thing. So it's a problem. Homeless is a problem. So I'm curious on how this is going to actually go into effect and see what goes on here. But the left's going to push back. Oh no, these people have a right to live on the streets. They have a right to just pull up right in front of your house and sleep on your front lawn. Yeah, they take over your property all the time in different states. So let's see what else we have here in the news. This is breaking a few moments ago. It says here, Macron's comment that France would recognize a Palestinian state. Let's see what Trump has to say to that. I guarantee you that there's going to be some sort of jet engine in the background, so rip to your ears.
Counterproductive to France, for France to say that they would recognize the Palestinian state. Macron said that yesterday.
Look, he's a different kind of a guy. He's okay. He's a team player, pretty much. But here's the good news. What he says doesn't matter. You know, it's not going to change it. Well, he made it.
It's true. Who cares what the French has to say? Just boop.
Statement, France, Macron. His statement doesn't carry any weight. He's a very good guy. I like him, but that statement doesn't carry weight.
And this is where the Democrats have such a problem with this idea of force. Look, I like the French. If we ever get into some mix, would love for you to come help out. You've helped us out before we were a country. And the revolution, that was a long time ago. These people walk around with their chests puffed out. You know what I mean? It's that little scrawny kid that thinks, you know, he's going to kick somebody's ass that's like 3 times as big as him. Because they've watched all these Hollywood movies. It's not how the real world works, man. France is small. We're big. I'll listen to some things you say, you know what I mean? Because you might have some good advice. Kind of like Peter Dinklage in Game of Thrones. You know, small guy. Small guy. Hand to the king. We'll listen. You might have some intelligence there. But when it comes to fighting, I don't exactly want Peter Dinklage right next to me. You know, he's a dwarf. I'm not making fun of dwarves. I'm just saying he's a small guy. I don't want a small guy if I'm in battle. If I'm in a fist fight, I don't exactly, you know, I don't want Peter Dinklage. Nothing against him. It's not his fault. But that's basically France. France are the dwarves of the world. And nothing against the dwarves. Everything against France. Trump just checked Bill Clinton and Larry Summers when asked about the Epstein files. Uh-oh.
Well, I don't want to talk about that. What I do want to say is that Todd is a great attorney, but you ought to be speaking about Larry Summers. You ought to be speaking about some of his friends that are hedge fund guys. They're all over the place. You ought to be speaking about Bill Clinton, who went to the island 28 times. I never went to the island.
Do you maintain you did not write a letter for Jeffrey Epstein's birthday?
I don't even know what they're talking about. Now, somebody could have written a letter and used my name, but that's happened a lot. All you have to do is take a look at the dossier, the fake dossier. Everything's fake with that administration. Everything's fake with the Democrats. Take a look at what they just found about the dossier. Everything is fake. They're a bunch of sick people. Where did you see the people laying outside? Exactly.
Right across the floor, Clement.
Crazy. So the Epstein stuff's not going to go away. I want to see if I could find it here really quick. They did meet with Maxwell yesterday. Just so you know, it was a multi-hour conversation. So we have it right here. Justice Department meets with, is it Ghislaine? I've heard it as Ghislaine, where the S is silent. I've heard of a Ghislaine. Some people don't like when you say that because it has the word jizz in it. Whatever. Ghislaine Maxwell, Miss Maxwell, we'll call her from now on. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is meeting with Maxwell at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Tallahassee, Florida. This already happened yesterday. Nothing was really released other than her lawyer came out and talked. So I actually want to see if I can go over a few things here on this. Fox News did a really great job covering this story. And I might have to find the video. I wonder if I posted it yesterday. I was watching it yesterday regarding the meeting itself. And Fox did a fabulous job talking about it. Here's a new one. This just came out a couple minutes ago. So look at this.
Former Biden Chief of Staff Ryan Klain getting candid with the GOP lawmakers investigating what insiders knew about Biden's cognitive decline. Klain told them Biden appeared tired and ill at that fateful debate, but they never saw him take Ambien like Hunter Biden claimed. Klain also revealed that Hillary Clinton and top advisor Jake Sullivan sounded the alarm on Biden's political viability months before he dropped out. Fox News contributor and GW law professor Jonathan Turley joins us now. Okay, so part of this is, palace intrigue and all that, knowing the backstory there. But from a criminal standpoint, what can they be held liable for?
Well, in terms of the president's conduct, there's really nothing criminal there except for possible lying to federal officials or acts of perjury. So the greatest threat to many of these former officials is that they are going to give false information or misleading information to Congress. That's probably the reason why some of them have pled the Fifth. But, in terms of the president himself, he's not likely, obviously, facing criminal conduct over his deteriorated state. Also, in terms of White House officials lying about his lack of capacity, that's also not necessarily a crime. It's only when they give false information to Congress, when they give false testimony, that they're looking at a serious potential charge.
So, Professor, I want to get your take on another story, and that's the Epstein files. And it looks like the administration is taking this very serious. When you send the deputy attorney general to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, I think they want full control of this.
So what I was getting at yesterday, when I was kind of listening to the deputy AG going and himself and talking to Maxwell, there was a few high-level professors, he's a law professor as well. I mean, across the board, they were saying that you would never see this happen. The fact that the deputy AG, I mean, you're talking the top of the top, right? There's just the attorney general and the deputy attorney general. You would never see this ever, you guys. And so basically, from what I'm being told by these people that are doing these interviews, is that the Trump administration is trying to send a message to not just Maxwell, but everybody else that's saying, look, the only other person in government that's bigger than the deputy AG is the attorney general herself. And that we're going to come and talk to you and interview you. You would never get this. Matter of fact, from what they're saying, they've actually never heard of it. Like to them, this is like how can I explain this? If a student asked them, well, hey, would you ever see an attorney general or deputy AG go and talk to somebody about a crime they committed? They would laugh in front of your face. It would be that preposterous, is kind of what I'm getting at here, and what they are as well. This is a big deal that the AG is the one that went and did it and was there for hours. And what Maxwell's lawyer said was she answered every single question and never pleaded the Fifth on the entire thing. Now, are we going to learn anything new? I'm not sure. I think there's a good case to be made. And this is what the professors were saying as well that are in law, was that there's no benefit to her whatsoever to come out clean and just release a bunch of new information. There's no benefit to her. So you'd imagine maybe a deal would be cut in some way, shape, or form to see if we can get some actual real information. Other than that, it was probably a nothing burger, is what I'm thinking. That whole thing there's probably nothing that really came out about it.
What her brother is saying in a statement. She would be putting before a court material new evidence that was not available to the defense at her 2021 trial, which would have had a significant impact on its outcome. Is she going to get something in return? I mean, there's really no motivation to talk with the feds unless she gets some type of deal. What could that deal be?
Right, Lawrence, that's really the key question here. There is a thing called a 5K 1.1 motion that the Justice Department can file for cooperation to reduce a sentence. That's usually when someone is a key witness in the prosecution of a third party. The defense can also go to a court and ask for a reduction based on new evidence, but we haven't seen that. She was convicted and given 20 years. And so the question is, if there's something there, why haven't they revealed it so far? The third possibility is a commutation, more likely than a pardon, from the president maybe at the end of his term, if she is a highly cooperative witness. So all of those are possibilities for Maxwell. The question is what she has. I was surprised in speaking with a member of the legal defense team a couple days ago when they said that reports that she had been previously interviewed by federal and state
listen to this
prosecutors, investigators, was not true. That she had never been interviewed.
Play that.
Yes, and despite all of these...
I'm going to play that again because this is something that I got so much pushback on TikTok when I said that nobody's gone and interviewed this chick before. Listen to this.
True. That she had never been interviewed. When they said that reports that she had been previously interviewed by federal and state prosecutors, investigators, was not true. That she had never been interviewed. Yes, and despite all of these past investigations in this scandal, I was really taken aback by that.
That's crazy.
So if that's true, she could be an untapped source of new information. The question is, what is that information? Is it just salacious, or is it something more that would reveal criminal conduct?
Jonathan, this is new information for me, and so forgive me, but how do you prosecute someone without doing an interview? I mean, that's like investigative procedure 101.
Well, they're saying that she had interaction, no doubt, in her own prosecution. But when I asked whether she had sat down with investigators, and there were so many investigations on a state and federal level, and I said, are you saying that she was never called forth to give information either in the state or federal systems? And they said no, that she has largely been left untouched by these past investigations. So the question is, what does she still have? And also, why didn't she reveal it before? She had every motivation in the world, if she could trade something, to do so before she was sentenced to 20 years.
Wow. So part two.
You know, it feels good time and time again of being vindicated. I love when I say something on social media and then all these leftists come out, these idiots, and tell me that I'm lying, that it's not true. But what they don't realize is usually before I ever post a video, I have to do research on what the fuck I'm going to talk about. You think I just pull this out of my ass and concoct these amazing stories? I wish I was that intelligent. I wish. Absolutely. All righty. Well, let's see what's breaking. I always do this and then I screw it up. Trump signs executive order. We covered this yesterday. Hulk Hogan did pass away, which sucks and terrible. The guy was a freaking legend. Macron's moved France to recognize Palestine at the UN. Nobody cares about what France does whatsoever. Stick to pastries, please. Thank you. Let's go to Fox News, see what's breaking. GOP lawmakers crafting big, beautiful sequel to Trump's agenda. Really? What the? This is breaking. What the hell's going on here? Let me zoom out for you guys. Hold on. What is this all about? You guys know about this? What's happening? Really quickly. House Republicans are already discussing contours for a potential second big, beautiful bill advancing President Trump's agenda. What's this all about? The Republican Study Committee, the 189-member strong group that acts as a de facto think tank for the House GOP, is launching a working group to look at what a second budget reconciliation bill would look like. It's the largest organized effort so far by congressional Republicans to follow through on GOP leaders' hopes for a second massive agenda bill. We must capitalize on the momentum we've generated in the first 6 months of the Republican trifecta in Washington. There's truth to that. Absolutely. You know, they're wondering if they might lose it in the midterms, man. It's possible. It's very common that actually takes place. And I agree. You need to take this moment. You need to get as much done as you can before the midterms. To fulfill the promises we made to the American people, conservatives must begin laying the groundwork for the second reconciliation bill to ensure we continue to drive down the cost of living and restore America's promise for future generations. House Republicans left Washington on Wednesday to kick off a 5-week recess period. Jeez, man. Where they are readying to sell the benefits of their first massive agenda bill to their constituents. Meanwhile, there was directed lawmakers, part of the new working group, to begin reaching out to colleagues, conservative senators, and GOP organizations about potential policy proposals for a new bill. The goal for a new group is to create a framework for what a second big, beautiful bill would look like and recommend the framework to GOP leaders. So we'll see what comes of that. But there wasn't really much there other than it looks like they're saying they're doing something. Well, that's nice. As you go on a 5-week vacation, that's dope. All righty. Confirmed Brad does not have a magical... What the hell? Dave, what are you talking about? I can't even read that, Dave. Appreciate the love, though. Brad, most do on TikTok. At Brad. Most do on TikTok. Oh, yeah, absolutely. They actually gave her future immunity the first time Epstein got arrested. They don't want the truth out there. Could I just give a quick 1-minute take on what I think is going on with the Epstein files? I'll be honest, you guys, the more and more I kind of go into the rabbit hole with it, I'm not saying there wasn't freaky deaky stuff going on. There was. I just think that it was so, I don't want to say we're sold a lie. I think it was just blown more out of proportion than what it really is. And I would have been wrong in that too, by the way, is I believe that this thing was bigger than what it is. What I'm slowly seeing, and Ben Shapiro had a really great interview on his show yesterday talking about this stuff, that the people that are in the know, like actually have read the documents, the court documents themselves, and have gone over the old stuff, have really done a great job kind of debunking a lot of the stuff that's out there, all this mythical stuff. So I think just have that in your back of your mind, that maybe you were sold a lie. That maybe it's not as big as everybody says it is. It's big, but not like taking down countries, and maybe not these mega celebrities. Maybe it was just a bunch of no-name guys that were doing some freaky deaky stuff, which, look, we still need to get to the bottom line of it. I'm not saying we're not, but maybe it also wasn't that many guys. You know, there's a lot of hearsay out there. So I would say try to take everything with a grain of salt on this, and try not to, and this goes for me too. It's not just for everybody else. I think it just needs to kind of take a step back and go, maybe I need to do more research on this, because it just, I don't know, just doesn't sound right. So with that being said, make sure you pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump. I'm going to try to do a Spooky Adventures show this weekend. We'll see if I get to it. But I hope you guys have a blessed day. Have a rocking weekend. If you're struggling in any way, shape, or form with mental health, or you're just not having a good day or whatever, it always helps to smile. Smile. Jesus, Brad. Oh, good. Just smile. Get those endorphins going. Have a good laugh. Watch a clip. Listen to music always helps too. Rock out. Go for a walk. Touch grass. Go. Just look at the sun. And I think, taking those 15 minutes to do those little things will hopefully just make your day a little bit better. All this other stuff you see in the news, you guys, don't let it get to you. It's important, but not enough to, life's too short, not enough to ruin your life. So with that being said, don't forget to throw rocks at stupid people. There you go, Dave. That works too. Oh, boy. All righty. Well, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Love you. Appreciate you. And I'll definitely see you Monday, if not over the weekend. Adios.